There's real magic that happens when you travel to a new place and you are all kind of doing this shared experience. Some of my closest friends now are all trail runners. And I've just met the most incredible people through sport, and really, honestly, you bond the most a lot of times when you travel to a race or you go somewhere. Like, there's magic that happens, and like, let's get more people together, not just at an expo or not just in the village when you're walking around, but when you're hanging out in comfortable settings like this, and it's not forced, it's not, there is magic that happens, and that's kind of what we're trying to capture at scale.
Welcome to Long Run Labs, a weekly podcast from the team behind For the Long Run podcast, telling the stories of those running the outdoor industry where endurance and entrepreneurship meet. Quick word about the huddle before we get into today's episode. If you're building a business, you already know how isolating it can get. You're making decisions daily that most people in your life don't fully understand. And the surface level networking stuff, it rarely helps. You walk out of those rooms with a stack of business cards and none of the clarity you actually needed. What my co-founders Jason Fitzgerald, Ross Yellen, and I are building at The Huddle is different. It's a peer advisory community built for early stage founders who want real accountability and real conversation. You get placed in a small cohort of people across different industries who actually have decision-making authority in their businesses. You meet monthly, you workshop each other's problems, and you build the kind of relationships where someone will tell you the thing you needed to hear, not just what sounds good. There are in-person sessions here in Boulder and virtual cohorts open to founders anywhere in the country. The three of us started The Huddle because we wanted this and it didn't exist. If you're at a point where going at it alone isn't working, or you're ready to level things up in your business, go to findmyhuddle.com and fill out the application. Link in the show notes, and we'll be in touch from there. Quick bit of honesty before we start. We recorded this conversation with leaders from Rabbit and Halo a few weeks back, before there was any business between us. Since then, Hilary and the team at Halo have come on as a partner of the show, and that happened because of conversations exactly like this one, not the other way around. I wanted you to hear that up front. You'll start hearing a proper word from Halo beginning next week. For today, all you need to know is that I like what they're building enough to work with them, and I think this conversation stands on its own. Let's get into it. All right, welcome to Long Run Labs. We are here in beautiful Lake Tahoe. Let's dive right in. We have two guests today, and they have a partnership with their businesses, but also two distinct businesses of their own. We're going to dive in and maybe learn a little bit about each of you, and then learn about the partnership and talk about consumers and building for consumers. And by consumers, we mean runners, people who travel to races and run races, what it means for the trail community, how we can continue to build in this period of time when people are so online, when we want to dive into the IRL and real world experience. So Monica, let's kick it off with you. Who is Monica?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us.
Sure.
This is awesome. Beautiful location. Glad we could do this. So yeah, I'm the CEO of Rabbit and one of the co-founders. Wow, let's see, we just turned 10. So celebrating a decade of being in business. I'm just here for the week for TrailCon, and I'm going to be here helping crew and pacing my training partner this weekend at Western States. So yeah, stoked to be here.
Awesome. Hilary, who is Hilary?
I'm Hilary Fenet, the founder and the CEO of Halo, which CEO, I feel like it's like, I don't think we're big enough for me to say that yet.
It's one of one?
The founder.
Manager?
No. We have like 12-ish people, but it still seems like a little much. But yeah, I'm a trail runner that really started kind of Halo out of a pain point that I had from traveling for races and not ever being able to figure out where to stay, and also kind of wanting a more holistic experience, kind of that's more community focused. And so been on the founder journey for about 2 years now for this, and excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. You both built businesses to solve a problem. I think in this day and age, there are a lot of people who are building businesses to make tons of money, or to solve for a market gap, or they see AI, or they see healthcare, or something that there's a massive opportunity for. And sometimes that intersects with a personal need. So I'm curious more about the deciding to start the thing. Maybe let's start with Rabbit. What was it for you that pushed you over the edge to create something? And maybe you can also include the store component.
Yeah. So Yeah, kind of I feel like the typical runner girl story, team sports my whole life. Found running at an early age, just kind of fell in love with gear at an early age. And then super fortunate and lucky to just start my career in the industry. So spent some time at brands and then my husband and we opened a running store, Santa Barbara Running. It's been around for quite a while. And just through all of that and being a consumer, being on the brand side, owning a running shop, I saw all of these sort of just little white spaces in the marketplace with like frustrations that I was having with gear as a runner, but then also as a shop owner. And so my business partner and we just went for it, and we knew that there was this gap in apparel. But then also I think like further than that, there was this idea of community. And I know it's kind of like an overused word today, but like really, I always say the apparel and the product is the means, to get to the community and build the community. And so like really when you talk about what's the meaning behind our brand and the name, in a race, the rabbit is the pace setter. And really for us, it's about like, the rabbit sacrifices their goal or their race for the greater good of others. And that's sort of just like our brand ethos. It's, we sort of come with open arms, and, I think I said it the other day, it's like we support and love dearly our consumers, and, like just being there for them. And hopefully it's through product solutions, that we're providing that make their run more enjoyable and that experience more enjoyable, but also it's like bringing people together and celebrating the joy of the sport.
Last night we were both at the Matter Brand dinner discussion thing. We were talking about culture and who creates culture. Is it the brand? Is it the consumer? Is it some mix of both? You and Jill have different backgrounds in running. You're on the trail side. She's on the road side. Those are two, I don't want to say conflicting cultures, but unique cultures. Mm-hmm. How does the difference in your running culture and the experience that you both have as runners over the last several decades, how has that influenced the brand and how you think about who do we market to, what do we stand for, and what's the vibe we bring to those people?
Yeah, great question. I mean, for us, it's always been, I think, that feeling and that emotional connection that we're making with our consumers, whether they're on the roads or on the trails, it's really the same thing. I think where we differentiate those, obviously through product innovation and our product mix. But I think like that attitude and vibe and emotional connection, really, there's not really a difference. And I feel like that's what's given us the opportunity to be able to appeal to both worlds, if you will. Because at the end of the day, it's, I think consumers, they want to feel listened to, and they want to feel obviously, if you're going to wear the brand's badge, you want to feel proud and support that brand because you love them, or, you're getting a feeling from them that makes you feel good. So yeah, I think it's tricky with the brand culture. I think there's a lot of new amazing brands popping up in the space, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see. At the end of the day, I believe it's the consumer. They're the ones that they have the wallets and
voting with dollars.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So
tell us more about Halo. Where did that come from, and what pushed you over the edge to start the thing?
Very simply, it kind of came from, I think, so kind of two angles. One was like a passion pain point that I had. And then two was also a really interesting market opportunity. I got into, it's a longer story, but I lived in Cape Town for a little while, got into trail running, and then I moved back to New York City, and I started traveling for trail races. And what I found was just that figuring out where to stay was usually kind of a pain. Like you have the GPX map and then Airbnb and booking.com maps up trying to figure out where it starts, finishes, and where you're going to stay. And then when I originally started trail running in 2019, I didn't really have much of a community. New York City does not have like a ton of trail runners. My friends in New York City in particular are not the trail running type. So I would always go to these races really excited to meet kind of like-minded trail runners. And what I found was just that everybody's spread out across a bunch of different hotels and places. And then you have the race, which is great. And you kind of connect with people at races, and then you have the expo and maybe a shakeout run. But I just kind of felt like, you're there when you're traveling for a race, you're there for like 3 or 4 days sometimes. And there's just a lot of missed opportunity for connection where you have all these incredible people in the same spot. And then the other kind of piece that I saw was kind of already mentioned this, but the brand piece. You have the brands sponsoring races, putting their logos everywhere, doing stuff for their elite athletes, but kind of not as much for the everyday runner. And I just thought there's a really interesting opportunity for tech to solve a lot of these problems and make them better for everyone. And so that's kind of how Halo, and then I also kind of backed into the broader travel market in general. And that's kind of how Halo came about. And I think what pushed me over the edge is really just like this combination. I had a very much of an aha moment where I was talking to my sister about all these different things. And I was kind of talking about these different businesses that are kind of existing in the space. And she's like, well, why don't you start a business? And I had like this feeling of like chills all down my body. And this was over a Christmas holiday. And I grabbed this piece of yellow construction paper from my niece's art table. And I disappeared for an afternoon and I wrote out a full business plan. And I think kind of ever since that moment, I've just been kind of like on this obsessive mission of like using technology to kind of drive people to come together in real life around the things that they love.
Some of my best memories around races aren't the like doing of the thing. It's the hanging out with the people.
100%.
And so it's crazy that there's never been something that's solved for this yet. Why do you think that is?
It's because it's logistically a nightmare. So part of it, you guys see a nice front end. I think I'm biased.
Yes.
But the back end for dealing with like all the hotels and everything like that, the back end software dealing with hotel booking and things like that is really antiquated. And so we've had to kind of like, there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to kind of do baseline stuff and then deal with hotels. So I think brands will have sometimes done parts of these things and then they'll go, that was hard, I'm not going to do it again.
Or it's just like a recommended hotel that is close, right?
Yeah.
It's a proximity thing, not a perks and benefits thing.
Yeah. It's not a holistic thing where you have like the branded booking
Right.
and then like on-site kind of activations and all these different things that kind of make a hotel like a rabbit hotel. Or if we're working with a race organizer, like the Javelina Hotel. I feel like both entities don't have the capacity to do this on their own. And we just try and make it really easy for them to pull it off.
So what is the brand like about this infrastructure?
Well, I think there's a couple things. Like, first of all, we're trying to plan our activation at the event, right? So like our focus and expertise is on how do we show up for the consumer that best fits our brand. But then I think going one step further is like, how do we offer this complete holistic, hospitable experience, right? Where we're with you the whole step of the way at the event. And I think that's what's really exciting about this is it gives the brand, us, the opportunity to, just create this incredible experience for the runner, not just like come to our booth, at the event. It's like,
Which is very transactional.
Exactly.
And it's great. It's
but
transactional.
But this like lets us like make this connection on a much deeper level. And like, I feel like really, feel kind of like their crew, and like really, really have this deeper level of support. That's really cool.
So marketing is all about helping people feel some sort of emotion or feel something. What is the emotion that you're both looking to achieve from something like this? And how does it get created?
I think for us, I think what we want is for brands to be able to make people feel like they're a part of their team.
Yeah.
Because if you're running a 250-mile race, or if you're running a marathon or whatever, or even if it's not even within running, like, I think people miss feeling like after high school, people, or college, if you played a sport, or like a lot of people miss that kind
Camaraderie.
of camaraderie and feeling like you're a part of something. And I think brands are kind of cool because each brand has their own feeling. So like Rabbit has a really cool and unique brand. And I think that feeling of being a part of a team, like that kind of just general community, like feeling like you belong. I think there's real magic that happens when you travel to a new place and you are all kind of doing this shared experience. Some of my closest friends now are all trail runners, and I've just met the most incredible people through sport. And really, honestly, you bond the most a lot of times when you travel to a race, or you go somewhere. Like, there's magic that happens, and like, let's get more people together, not just at an expo or not just in the village when you're walking around. But when you're hanging out in comfortable settings like this, and it's not forced, it's not, there is magic that happens, and that's kind of what we're trying to capture at scale.
And then logistically, right, the food focus, or like the runner friendly component.
The early morning breakfast.
The number of times I've been at a hotel when I'm like, there's nothing open.
I need my coffee
when I want to run. Yeah. So how much of it is like the nuts and bolts of the thing versus the congregating? And I assume that the details are kind of not the easy part, but the boxes to check first. And then it's the community aspect. It's the bringing people together. It's the, how do we make this more than just about room 417, and make it all about the whole hotel?
So it depends who we're working with, because we'll work with race organizers or brands. But I think for running specifically, there's definitely a playbook of kind of what people really like. They like when they show up to have kind of a little mixer. They really like to have kind of swag at check-in whenever they walk in the door. So it kind of feels like the experience, like, you're special. You're kind of like being acknowledged a little bit. Shakeout runs, early morning breakfast, like those are kind of the basic things that people really appreciate. Also, like kind of pre-race strategy calls for people to get to know each other. And then I think the brands layer in stuff on top of that are unique to those brands. So like Rabbit will do happy hours and post-race stretches and poster stamping, and like there's
Well, and I think also like just you got boots on the ground helping us find the space that fits, the brand image is also important, and location, right? Because like some of these places we've never been to, maybe,
right?
But they have the knowledge and expertise in helping guide us. Like for example, at UTMB, right? We're doing a clubhouse there, and you guys, Hilary's like, you need to be either here or here.
So we were talking about this recently. A lot of the research that runners are doing these days comes from AI. This episode will come out after a deep dive I did with Michael Ruckert of Sentium AI, where we talked through 20 categories, 2,200 prompts, talking through how the 5 major models are answering questions from runners about things like apparel, nutrition, electrolytes, watches. And one of the groupings that we included was towns to travel to. And so there are people that are searching, where should I go for a run? Like, are you thinking about the other side of it when people are wanting to go somewhere, but they don't know what to do? You're nodding your head. So it sounds like it's a yes.
I mean, I've pitched this to brands. I think we have to start with events first, but in what I would like if I'm going skiing is to be able to go on North Face website or Neurona's website and like see towns and hotels to stay. If I'm going even for a work trip or something, it would be great to be able to go on like for Rabbit to have a travel page where if I'm going to Santa Barbara or if I'm going to LA, they have their favorite hotels picked out with like Strava routes around there. Or if you're going to if you're maybe a French brand, I think it makes a ton of sense, because then you have that AI is great, but you don't always have that trust that you might have with a specialty brand whose gear you trust. So
This episode is brought to you by Popfly. If you're a brand trying to reach outdoor, travel, and adventure audiences, Popfly is where you should be running your creator program. It connects you with the largest community of adventure creators on the planet, people who actually use the gear, live the lifestyle, and have built real trust with their audiences. Popfly handles the whole operation. Affiliate links, discount codes, creator and ambassador collaborations, all in one place. No more chasing people down over email. You scale brand momentum, track what's actually working, and every mention comes from a place of credibility because the creators you're working with genuinely mean it. Go to popfly.com to check it out, and if you want to reach out to them, let them know that we sent you. If you're enjoying Long Run Labs, we'd love it if you took a moment to leave a review. It only takes a minute, but it helps the show reach more people like you. If an episode has helped you think differently about your business or career, made a long run fly by, or taught you something new, scroll down in your podcast app and tap those stars and write a review. Thank you for your support. Talk more about community and the connection that can occur. Again, like we spent 2020, 21, et cetera, behind screens, and we spend more time behind screens than ever before. And we're here 10 days of beautiful Lake Tahoe between Broken Arrow and TrailCon in Western States. And I've spent, I don't know, a total of like 4 hours on my computer all week. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, man, I love the in-person stuff. So how are you thinking about the continuity of that? Or like, what is the value of that for a brand versus the runners? Like, talk to me more about like the connection that can be made. And then if you can share what that actually leads to.
Yeah, I think, so like, I'll just use the clubhouse as an example because I feel like it's tangible. So I think, like, for example, we're going to do a clubhouse at New York City Marathon again. And I think we're kind of like mulling over like different ideas of like, what friends do we bring in to be a part of this experience with the brand? And so I think you can start tapping into like these other interests. Like I'll give you an example. Roz, we are talking to him about bringing him to New York City to be a friend of the clubhouse and like doing a writing experience, so, we have his book and then he's teaching, a writing workshop.
Cool.
So I think there's like all these really cool, like sort of, other cultural things that sit next to running that runners are interested in. And like,
creating a space to do those types of things.
Yeah. So like another example, in Chamonix, we're at the clubhouse there where we're going to do a croissant making class,
excited.
So like, I think things like that, just like, so it's like creating the hospitality, bringing the community together, but like also experiencing these other cool things together. Right. And like, I think like opening eyes to like we're all runners and we love running, but like there's all these other cool things we can also do together when we bring everyone together.
We've talked a little bit about like marketing to quote unquote regular runners and how a lot of brand activations center around the elite athletes. Mm-hmm. We were listening to Alyssa Olenek talk about how she has like 250,000 followers on Instagram and they're all like mid to back of the pack. Mm-hmm. And she's like, nobody is speaking to those people. And statistically, on average, that makes up the largest group of people, right? The middle of the pack. Mm-hmm. How does something like this specifically, maybe not specifically focus on, but how are you thinking about that group in particular versus the elites and the people that are winning the race versus the people in the middle of the pack are truly the ones funding these businesses and the ones that are keeping the running industry moving forward?
Mm-hmm. The majority of our consumer is that person, honestly. So, I mean, to me, I think that's who the clubhouse is appealing to.
Why do you think so many brands miss that group?
Because it's not the shiny, bright object. The shiny, bright object on the screen is kind of, I think, where everyone's eyeballs are going to, or that's what you're talking about. And that's my personal opinion. Yeah. Behind on the screen, there's a lot of amazing, cool content and cool, shiny objects.
Yeah. Because brands, even this year, like brands are definitely doing similar concepts, but they're doing it for influencers and professional athletes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one of the things Rabbit's amazing to work with, and what I love, or one of the many things that I love so much is just like how deeply they care about their customer. Like they genuinely care about their experience, and I think it shows, especially like in these little, in all the little details, and just putting in the effort to do a clubhouse. Like it takes effort for their team, and that is because they all really, care about that middle of the pack kind of runner experience.
Let's talk more about the clubhouse at UTMB. That's a huge expense. It's halfway across the world. How do you prioritize where you as a brand show up?
Great question. I think, it can get a bit overwhelming because there's a lot of cool things, right, that we want to do as a brand and where we want to show up. Originally, we were like, we're going to Chamonix, we're going to Berlin, and then we were like, wait, let's slow down here. Let's make sure we pull one off in Europe first. But I think for us as a brand, obviously, going to one of the biggest trail parties in the world and showing up there, for a brand, I think that's important for us to be there. But then also for us as a brand, we don't have much distribution at all yet in Europe. And so it's sort of an opportunity for us to sort of
take some meetings
and get insights and kind of test the waters with that consumer group. So, so we're using it as an opportunity to invest and learn, quite frankly.
I've talked on this podcast before about how there's so much noise in event activation and marketing, and you go to the Boston Marathon and walk down Newbury Street and you can swap the logos from one activation to another and it doesn't really make a difference. They're all doing shakeouts. They're all doing the same thing over and over again. I talked through how my experience at Boston with Mount to Coast, they did the double Boston. And I don't think any other brand could have showed up at the Boston Marathon and done a road ultra and have it been like, yeah, that makes sense. How do you think about marketing and event activation as it relates to being unique and specific to the brand versus contributing to the noise and just like showing up and doing a shakeout run because that's what running brands tend to do? Is that a conversation that happens internally?
Oh, yes. Always. I mean, we're always like, how do we differentiate ourselves? How do we bring out the best in our brand, to the consumer? So
what does that look like?
You mean like behind the scenes? How does it look?
Not like how the sauce is made, but how do you think about being uniquely Rabbit?
I think Rabbit, like the way that we show up is like, we're your friend,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, we're your friend no matter what. And like, come in the door. And I think it's like, how do we show up in a way that's like, we care, we deeply care about you. But then it's like the fun little things, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe bracelet making is not so new anymore.
Right, but like ACG is not doing what Rabbit's doing, for example.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think like having these fun, kind of quirky, unique things that we'll be doing at UTMB, and I think sometimes it's not always a tangible thing. It's a feeling, right? But like, so I think your example of Mount Dakota, that is a great one for that brand.
Just on the back of that, I think, so I have zero marketing background, and I always think about when I think about kind of a brand, I think about what moves me as a consumer, because I am like the target audience for brands. And I think when you think on the business side of like the lifetime value of a customer and having a repeat customer that really loves your brand outside of just like what's in run specialty store or things like that. I think having an emotional connection is kind of a very like a tangible thing. And I think doing in real life experiences versus just seeing something on a screen for me it's powerful. So if a brand gives me a memory or an experience that deeply care about, yeah, of course, when I see that brand stuff and they have good quality stuff, like I associate that with it.
What's an example of something like that you've seen recently? Maybe it's here at TrailCon or something recently.
I mean, Rabbit's a good one because like, I love one. I think their easy tees are so comfortable, and yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think honestly, ACG did this really cool small experience at UTMB last year where it was a VK, like start to the chapel, you race to the top, and there was like a coffee and this like whole setup up there. That's awesome. And then I got to demo their shoes, and I PR'd on the way down. So I don't know. That was like a really cool memory. And like I was there with a bunch of my friends. It was a beautiful day. There was a party on top. Like honestly, this there's a theme here. They did a shakeout run where you ran up to the top and there was like a DJ disco.
Yeah, in the tram, yeah. And at the top, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't converted on buying anything quite yet, but that was cool.
What I'd recommend.
Yeah, that was cool.
Were you both at Broken Arrow weekend?
I was on the Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, the branding was sick.
The branding was, I'm curious your thoughts in particular, and then your thoughts more without the marketing background. ACG showing up in the way that they did, how do you feel? What did it evoke for you?
I mean, it's impressive. Like I geek out on product and marketing, and I'm like, it's very impressive. I think it's funny. I'm just going to share this. Like as a smaller brand and then like just being competitive, I'm like, damn.
Right. Like you're on the stage with Mark talking through it.
But then I meet Mark.
Yeah.
Right. And like we chatted multiple times yesterday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now
Mark's the head of North America.
Yes, he's
GM
the
at
GM
North America.
For North and like we had a lot of great chats, and I'm like, he deeply cares about the sport, and like I feel like he knows he has this responsibility to like navigate this in a way that probably
is respectful.
Like, yes, and so like that kind of changed now that I had that conversation with him.
I had the exact same experience. I met him last night.
Yes.
Shout out to Mel Strong for the connection there. And I was like, this is the guy that has to be leading. Like I pictured somebody totally different as the guy behind the person behind the brand. And I was like, he respects the challenge. The thing keeping him up at night is what would keep me up at night in that position. And I was shocked.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's great for the sport. You get more eyeballs on it. Like it makes for a really fun experience. If you're here for the weekend.
I had a bunch of beers on ACG. Yeah. Really great time at Slot Bar.
It elevates the event.
Some chicken tenders.
So I think like looking at it from all of those angles, it's very positive. I understand, there's the conversations happening, people that have been in the sport. I've been doing it a really long time, and you get
jaded.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, slow down, what's happening? But I think it's a really cool time that we're in, and hopefully, I know there's some skepticism in the future of the sport.
Appropriate skepticism. Yeah. Hilary, what about you?
Honestly, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought all the tiny details that they put into
the orange on the cups at Coffee Bar.
Yeah. All the little tiny details I thought were really great. And they were, I mean, I know there was a big prize purse, and so they definitely also focused on that elite athlete experience, but I don't think they forgot about the rest of us, even the spectator. I wasn't running, I was just a spectator. And I think there's always tension when there's growth, but I think what they've been showing at the past couple of races, I think it's kind of cool because I think it's going to also push the other brands. Mm-hmm. Like, Hoka's like, man, we got
yeah, right. And it elevates the experience. And for the big brands, the Hokas the Hokas and Ons,
they're up their game.
They've got to level it up. Yes. Rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah.
I think they spent nearly $1 million for the weekend. I just Claude and I were doing some math and trying to
Well, also, what about at the Gorge? Because
I wasn't there, so I don't know on that. I was just going through the number of employees I assumed to be here, their lodging, hotels, the race sponsorship,
The branding.
the purse, the branding, the tram, the buying out of coffee bar, the buying out of slot bar, the open bar, and got to that number. And I think it's pretty accurate. On your side, you're like, I can't compete with that. I don't want to compete with that. And if you tried to compete with it, it wouldn't make sense for that brand. On the flip side, Ian from Scratch was asking some really great questions on the panel you were on, and I chatted with him afterwards. And he said something to the effect of like, let's say ACG is allocated $350 million and they draw down some amount every time they go to a race or sponsor athletes or do media stuff or whatever. And let's say that money then runs out and the experiment is over and they say, nope, we're not going to do it anymore. And I think that's the fear that people have, that Nike or ACG has, or mostly Nike Trail has dipped into trail before, sponsored some athletes, sponsored some races, and then pulled out. Ian's comment was, or question was, does that infusion of capital bring us to another level? And does the infrastructure then rise to where it is, or does the bottom fall out? How do we protect the bottom from falling out so that we're not in a place where we're reliant on a Nike, a Hoka, an On, or something like that, deciding that trail is not a focus anymore?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, I think though, I guess my question would be, when we say the bottom is falling out, is it because I think
bunch of athletes stop getting sponsored, a bunch of media stops getting sponsored, a bunch of events stop getting sponsored. So there are these big gaps in funding for some of the critical pillars of the sport.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I don't know. I think like also it's just going to depend on the infrastructure of these events. But I mean, like I feel like, so for example, like Javelina, okay, like Hoka's been the footwear sponsor. We've been the apparel sponsor for 7 years. And then there's some other really big events. I'm blanking at the moment, but I feel like
Black
Western
Canyon,
States.
Western States, JFK.
So I don't know. I struggle a little bit with this. Like, I get it from the brand, like the product thing, right? We're all just trying to get the same consumer and we just keep growing our SKUs.
Yeah, it's a zero-sum game.
And if we're only growing the sport at 8% a year, I get that math. But I guess I'm still like the culture, the investment in the athlete and the event thing. Like, I think right now, like, okay, there's Broken Arrow. Like, that's really.
In terms of the ACG side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gorge and.
Yeah. But I also feel like the events are.
A small piece.
Yeah. Well, there's a cap.
There are a lot of them. Yeah.
There's also a cap to these events because of where you're at. I mean.
And the fact that we heard it a bunch of times that the average race in the U.S. is 60 people.
Right.
I don't know if that was the average or the median.
I don't.
It seems really low as an average.
I'm very long tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super curious where that.
Because we have a lot of data on that too.
Yeah, it didn't seem.
Yeah. I think that's including like everything.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Let's talk more about the capital side of things. There's a lot of interest in investing in the sport, literally. From angel investors, from VC, private equity. We see what's happening with UTMB and UTMB races, with kind of just buying them, putting them all under one roof. How do you feel, particularly as business owners who need capital to either start the business or fund purchase orders or however the financing of the thing actually works? How do you think about the outside capital, internal capital? Like what's your dialogue with that component of it?
Yeah, so like for me, that's where I'm not a hard stop, no, but like that's where I have pause when Rabbit, we have never taken outside capital. We've never done a major fundraise. We're still self-funded.
How did you do that?
So I should qualify that with we have 3 angel in the beginning. I'm a finance nerd. So like I'm the cash flow thing. I mean, that's what I live and die. You live and die by cash flow.
Right.
So
You're the spreadsheets.
yes, spreadsheet lady. So that's where I talk about doing the math. Like that's where some of these new brands that are entering, I think the speed, so like for me, I'm like, we just haven't found the right partner. Right. So, so that's where for us, it can be a disadvantage, right? It's like, okay, great. We get to control our own destiny. We get to grow at the rate we want to grow at. But then like, are we missing opportunities where we're,
What would you say to someone who's thinking about bootstrapping versus taking outside capital?
That's when I look at the pie, right?
Yeah.
You look at the pie and the growth rate, and I would be very, very cautious on like the spent, like I'm like in my head and just doing my own math, the rate of cash that's being burned by some of these brands, that scares me.
Yeah, I mean, I've been at brands where the burn rate is hundreds of thousands a month.
That would scare. I couldn't do it because I don't think I could sleep at night. I mean, good for them, but I'm also like, and obviously there's different motivations, right?
Yeah.
And what their end goal is versus what my end goal is.
Yeah.
And
what is success to you?
for me, it's, one, like having the consumer love us. I want to be around I want this brand to live for a really long time. And it's building an organization with people that I love and that I'm hopefully, helping them build their professional career and like they're learning and growing and like, so like for me, it's like cash flow and my employees and the consumer, obviously, but like those are kind of my 3 keep me up at night. And so the burning of the cash, that's where I'm like, oh God, talk about the bottom falling out.
Yeah. And that's a very West Coast style as well.
Yeah.
Hilary, what about you running a software business?
Yeah, I mean, so it's definitely different than a CPG business. I think what you guys have done is amazing.
Inventory.
Yeah.
Never again in my life.
Well, yeah. So my background is, I'm an investor by background. I was at a large hedge fund for a lot of time, a lot of years, and in a spin out fund.
What was the thesis of that fund?
Long short equity. So I ran our capital markets business and did consumer and tech mostly. I did kind of everything, but the crux was like consumer and tech. And yeah, so have in my career kind of invested a lot of capital and looked at a lot of different businesses and seen what's worked and what hasn't, especially on the software side. And obviously now is like a totally different time in the world just because of AI.
The guy I was talking to, he was like, I'm building a technology that a requirement was I can do it on my phone.
Yeah.
Like make it on my phone.
Well, that's what's crazy. It's on the tech side, it's so much cheaper to build than it used to be.
He's like, I'd be paying $20,000 per deployment.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Otherwise,
it's, I mean, again, the back end hotel booking software was complicated and that took an investment. I think about it, we're going after the travel market, so it's a bit different, and it's a bigger profit margin and
a huge TAM.
It's huge.
Yeah,
it's massive. So I have taken on. I mean, I bootstrapped it at first. Like I'm still not taking a salary. I'm paying my employees, and we're doing kind of very small. Most of
Been there, done that.
Yeah, it's fun. But most of our capital has gone towards. We have an engineering team, so that's kind of. And again, it's been a small investment. It's about as small as you can get, but I think we're going after the Booking.coms, the Expedias, the Airbnbs of the world in a small travel kind of like sports vein. But for us, it does make sense to take on outside capital.
So running is the wedge and the proof point, and then you can say this worked in this small niche.
Yeah, we'll go after. I mean, we're already doing college sports and kind of going to different markets. I will always probably be focused on running. We're getting pulled into like golf and other ones, and I'm going to hire people for that because I think one of the, and I've been in a very corporate environment where there's like no soul and it's just about making money, and like I don't want to do that. Like life is short. I think the greatest privilege is being able to build something that impacts other people and do something that you're passionate about. Like that is the best way to build, because I think people feel it. Like you feel like I see in other aspects of businesses, people are doing like private equity roll-up strategy. And like, it's either like an ego project or it's I'm trying to get rich project.
Make as much money as possible. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the world needs more companies that are built from just like passion. So so when we do go into different verticals, I will have people that are passionate about golf or whatever that is. But I think, before we launched, we've been live for 2 years, but before we launched, it was very much bootstrap. We started taking on angels. Most of the angels were super passionate trail running friends.
Like a strategic angel? Or just someone who gets it?
I mean, some strategic, but a lot of them are just like a lot of my trail running friends that have exited businesses or are like very passionate about the sport. Sports is a fun one when it comes to investing, because I feel like when you find the right people that are like, I know this pain point. Like I've traveled for races. Like I've literally booked a place on the wrong side of a mountain before. Like I've been there and like I want to get involved. I've navigated, I think when you're starting out a business, I think bootstrapping as long as you possibly can is definitely the way to go. And then after that, I think finding people, like I kind of have an acronym like FLOWS. Excuse my French, fucking legends only. Like being picky about who you're letting in and like having the right people in your cap table. Like I am so excited about the people like in my squad. Like they're in the trenches with me. I call them not all of them, but like call out of them all the time.
Love that.
But yeah, I mean but capital raising intrinsically is very challenging. So you got to be like, if you're also founding a business is really challenging. So all of it is.
I've had a lot of these conversations lately, and I'm putting together a Substack on fundraising in the outdoor industry. And it's citing like 8 of the podcasts I've done recently that talk through this. And it's like, because I get a lot of questions about this, and I connect a lot of founders to investors, both on the angel and VC side of things. And so I wanted to have an artifact that I could just like share for guidance. So that will be created. And perhaps it'll be done by the time this episode comes out. So I'll link to it, but it'll be on my Substack. So I want to get your take on what would you say to someone with your background? What would you say to someone who is thinking about, well, I guess you already answered that. Fucking legends only is the answer.
Be picky about who you're talking to. Like, so the other one, so this is non-traditional. So Courtney DeValter is one of my advisors, and we don't really talk about the business. We just talk about mindset stuff. And I think when I was doing my original seed raise, it was like a struggle, and I was like trying to manage the business and bring on new clients, and you're pushing 4 boulders up a hill simultaneously. And I'm like, this fundraising, I'm like, I got to do it, but like, and she gave me a piece of advice that I really took to heart. And that's how I started I was like, okay, it's too early for VCs. I need to just go the angel route. She's like, when I'm thinking about my off season and like all the little, like, she's like, I literally just think about everything as like a tiny grain of sand. And like the smallest details and the smallest kind of little things that you can stack together on top of each other to make a mountain. Like that's like, and I think that's so great in anything that's hard. It's not going after the big kind of,
you can't eat the elephant in one bite.
Yeah, you gotta just like start here and just work your way up and like have all those conversations. And so I would say, for the people going off or for the new businesses, bootstrap as long as you can, then go off with the tiny grains of sand, people you love, and then.
And I would say, just to add on to that, with the bootstrapping, like, you're always going to need more cash than you budget, than you forecast.
Yeah.
You just do. So be prepared.
And fundraising takes longer than you think it will.
What I've learned is that CEOs are constantly fundraising. It's just like the number of people I talk to that they're like, yep, our pre-seed just closed and now I'm on to the seed and I'm already thinking about the Series A. Yeah. And it's like, I forget who I listened to Mark Cuban on the Trailblazers podcast with Erica Wenger, who one of my biggest regrets is not joining her fund 2 years ago when I had the opportunity because she crushes. But they were talking about, it was just a really interesting take on fundraising. And Mark's suggestion similarly was bootstrap as long as you possibly can. He's like, when I sold my company for $4 billion, I own most of it.
Yep.
And it's like, it's the harder way to go about it. But he's like, fundraising is not a measure of success. It's an obligation.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not winning because you can raise a bunch of money. You're actually making more work by raising a bunch of money.
And that's the other thing. Like, I'm similar to what you're saying, like, done the corporate thing. Like, I want to do this on my own terms, on my own timeline, at a return rate that's on, my dime and my timeline. And, and do it with people that I genuinely want to work with and do business with.
The first company I ever worked for was a company I worked for out of college, and it was bootstrapped, and we never took on VC money. And when I went to Insight Tracker, which was VC funded, she said, you're going to hate working for a VC backed company. And I was 24. I didn't know what she meant.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what she meant for like 5 years. And then when I figured out what she meant, I really figured out what she meant. And it's not to say that all VCs are bad. I think some
very careful.
I think some are.
Yeah.
But I think some are really additive, and I think some are really good from a strategic standpoint, and some have a really strong focus on the horizon, on the future, and how they want to help build. But that seems to be few and far between.
Yeah. I mean, one other maybe piece of advice I would share for other people starting out, like if you are going to go that route, the other way to think about it is like, look at the portfolio companies within that VC. Could those be clients of yours? So can you do a 2-bird, 1-stone strategic capital and go after
Great
a big
point.
So for me, that's like, who owns these franchises? Like, who owns these companies? If you don't want to invest, do you want to make an introduction and kick the tires on my company that way and see, so I think that piece is also, because you really, at the early stages, you're trying to de-risk your company to some extent. So if you can do that with like a strategic partner, like you were saying, like I think that's a big win for both parties potentially. But then, being really careful about talk to other, like if you do take on VC, call other portfolio CEOs and get,
and you should be able to see those on their website. It's freely listed.
If you're early stage, do not take on PE capital. That is a disaster.
That doesn't even make sense, but some people are doing it. Yeah.
Although like PE started doing like, or like VC backed lending. I mean, disaster.
Yeah. What are the other options from a financing standpoint? We don't talk about loans enough.
Yeah, there's convertible loans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've done those.
Like a safe or?
Like a
bank loan.
There's that. Yeah. I mean, we have that, but I'm talking
line
about
of credit.
Yeah. We have that. And then like with one of our investors, we'll do the convertible note,
Okay. I loved Shoe Dog. I loved it. So I think that's all loans and bank.
Yes.
I mean, that's an interesting story of like before growth capital.
Yes.
Todd, I mean, the other one, Todd Graves, who founded Cane's, if you listen to him on how I built this, also super interesting one.
Okay.
It's not the relevant industry.
Chicken company.
Yeah, Cane's Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
He's a Baton Rouge guy. I'm from Baton Rouge. So he owns like 100%.
That's like a fascinating story.
Fascinating story.
I'll have to listen to that one.
It's a good one. But I think, or you can just make more money.
Have
Which
really
is like
high
the ideal
margins.
one. Yeah, that's the ideal one. Yeah, you can just try and hustle more and get, bigger deals that maybe aren't like a sustainable part of your business, but can give you some cash.
Yeah.
I think a really cool example of that was like back in the Airbnb days, they made like Obama O cereal or something like that and raised 30 grand like that around election time.
Airbnb did?
Yeah, the founders
that's
did at the
cool.
time. Yeah.
Well, you can also do like pre-orders.
Yep.
You can do like on the wholesale side, there's a platform called C2FO where you can get like, or you might give up another % in discount, but you can get paid early. Like with a big retailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just helping, bridge the cash gap.
The cash
from
flows-
inventory,
The cash flow story I love the most is from is about Costco on Acquired. They have, I think, net 30 on all their vendors, and their sell through is like 27 or 28 days. So their suppliers are just floating their cash
Yes.
on a constant basis.
Yes.
The dream.
Yes.
Given your background, have you done kind of an audit on the landscape in running in terms of like what's happening from a cash flow perspective or an investment perspective?
For
Just
travel
broadly
or
about running brands.
I mean, kind of, but not. I mean, we're more focused on the travel market
Yeah.
and the travel spend.
What's really interesting for you?
I mean, it's like a massively untapped market that's growing, and I think for us, longer term, I think people want like with the more AI comes into play and the more technology and screens and everything's automated, I think the more people want community in real life experiences, and I think the more sports is going to be like a centralized thing that people want to spend their time on because you can't predict it. My only thing is like Polymarket, like are these sports teams now going to be throwing games because, there's that aspect. But I do think
Pete Rose has set the bar low on that one.
I don't know, but I do. I mean, like World Cup, like people want these in real life experiences because you can't replace that feeling of, or like the Knicks. I'm just coming from New York, like that moment where, I mean, God, when the Knicks came back, like I forget which game it was, we were down like 30 and they came back
5 or
like
something.
You can't replicate that feeling. Like, and everybody the next game is like traveling down to Dallas. Like the travel industry is kind of the travel sports industry is something I'm very bullish on.
Is this how we get airlines and hotels to be sponsoring races and events?
Maybe. I mean, like Airbnb sponsors Tour de France.
Yep.
Some are already doing it. I think
it's a thread I've been pulling on and trying to, because I have this podcast network of 35 shows. I'm like, who travels more than runners, right?
Yeah.
Like why are they not investing in running media and running events?
Because it's for the markets they usually go after, it's pretty small still, but I'm sure it'll get there. I mean, marathons are large.
Yeah.
London just announced
100,000 people.
100,000 people.
Yeah.
But every one of those person comes with like 5 friends. So it's actually a lot more than that.
500,000. So everyone who's listening to this, who should be contacting you about aligning with that?
Brands, event organizers, like I would apply the investors, like the FLOs, like we want to work with cool brands.
Yeah.
Like we have a no asshole policy.
No assholes
like,
listen to this podcast. I
monetize
banned
it,
them.
I think part of this experience for me is like getting to like build a cool team, work with really cool people, work with like cool investors that want to do differentiated things and like build something really memorable and special. And it's fun because it's like unexpected brands too that we're starting to talk to. Like I just met with like the Tudor watch, like some of the French people.
That's
They're
cool.
like,
Courtney now has 2 watch sponsors. It's incredible. And 2 nutrition sponsors too. She's really just a trailblazer.
Yeah. But I'm also just being in the present. Like I'm super excited about, I mean, the clubhouse in Chamonix is going to be so.
I think I have to come.
You should. You have to.
I need to book that flight.
You gotta,
I'm sure we have a room still.
You should enter I think there's still a giveaway right now.
At our booth, at the trail.
What's the giveaway?
A hotel room.
Oh,
At the clubhouse.
fortunately,
At the clubhouse.
I have a place to stay. I'm trying to stomach the near $2,000 flight.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So
Is it $2,000?
it's $1,800.
Where are you coming from?
Denver.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't that much from Santa Barbara.
So it doesn't look like that much, but then once you pick the not cheapest fare that allows you to
Change.
get PQPs and
Right.
it's like
Then it adds tax on.
then it becomes $1,800 with the taxes and the oil fees and all that crap.
Oh, geez.
This has been a blast. Was there anything else that you wanted to chat through before we wrap today?
I don't think so.
I think so. I mean, I would say like come if you're not staying at the clubhouse in Chamonix, come hang out.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a lot of stuff. It's like right by the finish line. It's the Genevieve and the Boston. Same thing if you're in New York for the New York Marathon.
Walker. We'll be at the Walker Hotel. We'll be at Chicago at the Arlo.
Chicago is going to be, Chicago. Maybe there's going to be a coffee rave after the run checkout.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds awesome. I need to know more about that.
Yes.
We're trying.
Awesome. Well, where can we find you both and your businesses?
We don't do a ton of stuff, but you can find us at poweredbyhalo.com or at poweredbyhalo on Instagram.
And then we're runninrabbit.com and then runninrabbit on Instagram.
Amazing. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Long Run Labs. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's building something of their own. We'll be back next Tuesday with more stories at the intersection of endurance and entrepreneurship from the people shaping the outdoor industry in ways big and small. Until then, keep showing up, keep asking questions, and we'll see you out there.